Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Donald and you clicked on this video because you're curious about my thoughts on Ethereum. So to kick things off, basically with all the bankruptcies that are happening with Celsius, Voyager, FTX, BlockFi, it really got me reflecting on the crypto that I hold, the crypto that I own. And Ethereum is one of them. But before I got to Ethereum, I was thinking about the stable coins like Tether, which I know is a scam, USDC, which now I completely lost faith in, which we'll get into in this video. But, all of them really came from Ethereum. So I want to dive deeper into Ethereum, and what I found wasn't good. So a lot of you guys that are Bitcoin maxis are going to rejoice by this video. A lot of you guys that believe in Ethereum, maybe I can give you a different perspective on how you should see it. Because for me as a person, I am completely against the government. I think they are corrupted, and I'm trying to get my money out of the system. And if you're watching this video, if you're subscribed to this channel, if you haven't yet, please be sure to smash that like and subscribe button because you're going to thank yourself for that. So I'm going to be honest, in this video, it's still something that I'm working through because the last 2 years I was on that mindset that 32 Ethereum was what I'm going after, and that Ethereum was completely decentralized until I started digging more deeply after these bankruptcies, right? And I feel like this video wouldn't be popular because it talks against the government, it talks against the man. So I really feel like the only way that the algorithm is going to push this is if you share or comment down below. But I could go ahead and make Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX Alameda videos because those are popular, the drama behind that, all the emotions, negative emotions that are spreading around. I just didn't want to be part of that. So this is why I'm making some different content, and hopefully you'll enjoy it and makes you think something different. Because with the bankruptcies, there's not a lot that you can do, but what you can do right now is plan your next moves on how you want to succeed with crypto. I still think that crypto is here to stay, but I think that there's a lot of traps that we have to navigate. And yeah, I'm still working through this. I really think that Ethereum might be one of those big traps, and I'm going to present to you why in this video. So I think the first thing I want to start off is with centralized staking. Now, ETH is now post-merge and staking is turned on, right? You put 32 Ethereum in staked and you get interest, or you can use a service like LIDO, which we'll talk about later, and you make interest. Now, the definition of staking, if you don't know what it is basically you're providing liquidity to an organization, right? You stake your Ethereum, and once it's staked, you can't move them. It is staked and it can be lost through things like slashing, which we'll talk about later. Another big word I want to define is attestation, which is just a smarty pants way of saying validation. And when it comes to validation, basically it's having a lot of different stakers vote on whether a transaction on Ethereum is legit or not, right? But the problem with Ethereum's staking case is that, let's say we have a validator who casts a vote on whether a transaction is right or not. If that validator has staked 100 Ethereum versus the second validator that has staked 32 Ethereum, well, the one with 100 Ethereum staked is going to be more influential. Their vote is going to be counted more. And how Bitcoin Magazine explained it is that there are already hierarchies in Ethereum. There are whales with hundreds of thousands or millions of Ethereum staked, like LIDO or Coinbase or Kraken or Binance. And then there are second tiers, which you can consider are the individuals who staked like 32 Ethereum to get an Ethereum node. And attestation or validation is where these second tier validators come into play. But ultimately, we know that block production is going to be produced by the VCs, right? The VCs are the whales who are holding hundreds of thousands or millions of Ethereum and they're staking them, right? So they're producing the blocks. So they're the ones that are ultimately, catch this, they're the ones that are ultimately controlling the Ethereum blockchain. So with that said, we can understand that this game is centralized. So now let's talk about sanctions and oppression. So earlier this year, the Treasury put Tornado Cash into the specially designated nationals list, or the SDN list. We can commonly call that the blacklist. So Circle, who is the issuer of USDC, following that, they went ahead and blacklisted every sanctioned address and smart contract, banning some holders of USDC and even seizing a small amount of their funds. So from that, I can plainly see that Circle and USDC is literally under US government control. So as far as I'm concerned with regards to Ethereum, due to that, it is a far cry away from being a decentralized environment. So for those of you who are not familiar with Tornado Cash, basically if you watch Breaking Bad, what they used to launder money was the car wash. Well, Tornado Cash here is the car wash. So what the government is doing is they're sanctioning a car wash. How does that help anyone? So now you know why I don't trust Circle and USDC, but that leads me into the next section, that MakerDAO is vulnerable. Now, what is MakerDAO? On Ethereum, MakerDAO is a very huge lending platform, and it uses Ethereum to provide its services. One of its services is to allow users to generate DAI, which is an algorithmic stablecoin. And they do this by depositing collateral assets into MakerDAO's vaults. Now, most of those assets are USDC, which is government controlled, which means that MakerDAO can get screwed by the government if the government wants to. According to Bitcoin Magazine, when they did their article, about 10.44 billion are the assets of MakerDAO. But of those 10.44 billion, $7.23 billion are in USDC. That's about 70% of all of their assets are in USDC. That makes them or puts them in a very vulnerable position. Because what we see is the foundations of what we call a decentralized app is based, 70% of that is based on a centralized issuer, that is Circle and USDC, which is controlled by the government. Now, while we're on a relevant topic, guys, I just want to introduce you guys to HeatBit, which is the first heater that mines Bitcoin. So what it's basically a space heater that when you turn it on and it's cold in the winter now and you need to heat your house, you might as well earn something from that. So this heater here earns you Bitcoin, and you can come to this link to take a look at the specs. I just got one myself, and you can use my referral link here, donaldleecrypto, to get 5% off on your purchases, because it is going to be an investment, but you know, it's an investment that's worth paying for because you're going to earn Bitcoin. So according to this article here by Bitcoin Magazine, at the time of this writing, 57.85% of Ethereum is being staked with 4 providers, with LIDO holding by far the largest market share. You can see that LIDO here at this time was holding 31.23%. Then we have Coinbase, Kraken, and Binance holding another substantial share of the chunk of Ether. So we know that Coinbase, Kraken, and Binance are all centralized exchanges, and you might think that LIDO is the only one decentralized, but is it really decentralized? Think about this. What LIDO does is allows users to stake their Ethereum with them, and in return they get something called STETH, which is staked ETH. And what they can do with the staked ETH is they can rehypothecate it. Now, what does rehypothecate mean? Well, that's a really big word. What it means is that you can stake your ETH and you get back staked ETH. This staked ETH you can use to do whatever you want with it. Maybe you can deposit into another exchange like Binance or Coinbase or Uniswap if they have it, to earn more yield. That is rehypothecating. I don't recommend that, but that's not the problem that I see here. The problem I see here is that LIDO holds so much ETH that they can potentially become the owner of the blockchain. And when they become the owner, when they control the blockchain, what can happen is that they can censor or block transactions. Now, there was a vote on whether they wanted to self-limit the amount of Ethereum that LIDO can hold, and the vote was put to a test, and there was a landslide. 99% of the votes said, yeah, we don't want to self-limit. But that's not surprising at all, because 95.11% of the LDO tokens that would allow you to make the vote are controlled by the top 1%. That is the venture capitalist firms. But that's not the problem here, because we know that these VC firms, they are under the thumbs of the US government. So what we see indirectly is that LIDO is owned by the government through the VC firms. So in that case, Ethereum has a huge centralization problem, because like I said just then, more than 50% of that ETH is held in the hands of centralized entities. And we now know that LIDO is centralized. What this means is that the US government can censor people at the protocol level. And you can't fork Ethereum, because if you fork Ethereum, then Circle, USDC, probably won't support that fork. And most of the DeFi applications currently really depend on USDC, so that fork would just die out, which is what we're kind of seeing now with ETH proof of work now that the merge is over. But all that aside, let's get into slashing, because I promise I'll talk a little bit about it. So what slashing is, it's basically a penalization, right? To have the Ethereum that you staked taken away from you because you did something wrong. Now, slashing really depends on the network validators all voting that this network node is a bad actor. They're doing something bad. And because they're doing something bad, we're gonna penalize them. But that in itself is where lies the problem, because what if you're the biggest majority stakeholder and you can decide whether you're gonna slash or not, and you're the bad actor? Well, why would you want to slash yourself? On this blockchain, on Ethereum, you call the shots and you make the rules, which means that there are no repercussions for you because you are the biggest fish in the pond and you can do whatever you want and nobody can counter you for that. So what I just gave you are a list of projects and coins that you might have thought was decentralized, but now you might think differently. You know, like USDC, MakerDAO, are they really decentralized? Well, that's up to you and what you decide on. For me, I am still working through this, to be honest, because I was just so into ETH. I, at this point, will still buy it at the right price, but will I buy as much as I was going to? Probably not, right? Because behind it are a lot of VC money in there, a lot of control by the US government. I don't like being bullied by our own government because I was bullied in high school and that's not a fun time. So I want to be able to go and leave when I want to, and it really feels like Bitcoin is the only way right now. So this is something that I'm still working on, and it's still something that I have to soak up and see how I feel after making some more reflections. I'll be sure to update you on what my decision is if I ever come to one, and you can find out what that decision is by smashing that like and subscribe button. Other than that, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video and learned something. Check out our other videos on cryptocurrencies and passive income. And remember, guys, continue working, continue building, continue inspiring. I'll see you next time.